Well, hello again folks. You join us on a very dark and wet Cambridgeshire night for another Vanners collaboration video. So don't forget to check out the other videos in this playlist of the Vanners collaboration group. I'll put a link in the end screen and in the description, and these are the other channels that take part in the group. Now the topic for this month is advice for newcomers to motorhoming. And we've asked Ads and Zoe from Herman Hits the Roads to mark our homework on this and give us their opinion on our advice. So let's start with our first tip. So my first tip really is to not stress yourself out too much about your first trip away. Don't worry too much about it. You can do a little bit of work to try and find out how things work, familiarise yourself with the van and stuff, but at the end of the day, it is just sleeping in a van in a field. And, you know, the things aren't that complicated once you start looking at them and getting into them. If you do have any problems, if you're staying on a bigger campsite, there's usually someone around who can help. If you're wild camping or on a CL, it's a little bit different, might be a little bit harder, but there's help and advice available on the internet, that sort of thing. So, you know, try not to spoil your first holiday by worrying too much about it. I do see posts on Facebook groups with people who do seem very, very sort of concerned and worried about their first trip out and how things like the toilet are going to work, the shower's going to work, is the oven going to work, is the heating going to work. Well, you know, choose your first trip to be one where you can cope with things. You know, you can have an adventurous first trip, but if you're on a campsite, there'll be a facilities block. If your toilet and shower you can't get working, there might be a pub nearby. If your oven's not working or you can't work your grill or whatever. If you can't make tea, that's a bit of a problem. You really got to get that sorted out before you go. So yeah, that's my first tip. Just relax and try and enjoy your first trip without worrying too much about it. What do you reckon, Ads and Zoe?
Hi Alex, Ads here. Zoe is not with me at the moment, but I got the next best thing. Say hello, Zoe. Hello, Ad. Now, in referring to your tips there, I think I have to disagree. I am complete opposite to you, I think. Now, I'm not saying you should worry and or whatever and panic. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that you shouldn't panic and don't need to worry. There's nothing to worry about. But I believe that you really kind of need to prepare for your first getaway before your major holiday. It's all very well saying about, oh, just go to a pub, but you may have found a place which doesn't have a pub nearby. So you need to prepare. You need to plan ahead. And of course, what about, you mentioned the tea there. So, you know, always have to have tea. What if you didn't bring your kettle? You know, you need to do some preparation to go on that first trip. Now, if you went locally, just for a weekend, just to give a little bit of practice, then you can quite easily go back home if you mess things up and go and pick up a kettle. That's all I'm saying.
My tip number 2 is really on the opposite end of the spectrum of that advice. There are a few things that it does pay to worry a little bit about, and they are things like the critical safety checks, especially if you bought an older van. Definitely get the gas system checked out. We got caught out like that a little bit. We believed the seller that sold us our van that the gas system had been checked out, and we had a big problem with the water heater that could have potentially burnt down the van. So just verify for yourself that the gas system is safe. And also your basic vehicle type checks. Check the tyres, windscreen washer fluid, check the oil, all this sort of thing that you would normally check on an older vehicle before a longer trip, if indeed you have brought an older vehicle. If you brought a newer vehicle, perhaps from a dealer, then you perhaps got a little bit less to worry about, but still verify all that stuff for yourself. Would you agree with that, Ads and Zoe?
Yes, we agree. Everyone should check all of their vehicles, not just their motorhomes or camper vans. But most people wouldn't know how to check the gas, but washer fluid, oil, etc. Everyone should check those, regardless of the vehicle.
My third tip is a little bit related to the second tip, really. And our focus on our channel is on older vans. So if you bought an older type van, what I recommend is that you seek out sources of information for that van on the internet, really. We've got this van, which is a Citroen C25, basically the same as a Talbot Express, and we've joined the Talbot Owners Club forum, and that is a fantastic source of information. There's people on there that give you advice on almost every aspect of the van, the habitation area, the engine, the basic van base for the vehicle. And there's also groups on Facebook dedicated to certain types of motorhome makes, models, that sort of thing, and it's probably worth joining them as well. A little bit of a cautionary note with Facebook: you do have to sift through some of the advice. It may not all be the highest quality, but you know, use a little bit of common sense and work out who's steering you in the right direction. And yeah, these days you've also got YouTube videos. I would hesitate to recommend my own because I always say they are not tutorials, but there are plenty of tutorials on YouTube, and they will take you through most things, especially things like we discussed in the last tip, like operating the basic systems in your van. So yeah, definitely owners groups on internet forums or possibly on Facebook or other media of your choice. Definitely join them and read up a little bit, join in the discussions and stuff, and you'll learn lots and lots about your van and be more able to deal with issues and bits and pieces as they come up. Do you reckon that's good advice, Ads and Zoe?
Yes, totally agree with you there, Alex. The internet is a great source of information and advice. Owners Club forums especially are good. Herman, our motorhome, hence the channel name, is a 1998 Heimer. And yeah, we have a similar sort of issue. We go onto the internet, looking at the forums and stuff, and find out information that way. With regard to Facebook, I do find that everyone has to have their say regardless of whether or not it's useful or not. Some people just joke, some people have a guess at the answer, and some people have an answer, but it's all amongst all the other postings. So yeah, agree with you on that one.
Well, thank you indeed for your comments on my tips, Ads and Zoe. And if you haven't checked out Ads and Zoe's channel, then head over to Herman Hits the Road. They've got a video in this collaboration group too, so if you watch the collaboration group videos, you will pick up on them at some point. Anyhow, that's it from me this month. We'll see you again soon in a future video. Well, that's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, please share it with your friends. Give the like button a press. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see some more.